NBA 2K rating recap for February 11th, 2026. It's Wednesday. We got 14 games that need to be broken down. We're basically going to be going over the entire league within an hour. There's a lot of league news to cover, plus some really interesting games. Also, I just finished watching Pete Toll break down the February 12th official 2K roster update that just released 2 or 3 hours ago. Yeah, I didn't even realize that today was actually going to be update day. It is the last week before, the last day before the All-Star break. So the last couple updates have been for 3-week periods. This one is only 2 weeks, so it's not as much to break down. But still, you should check out the video. And then I'm going to spend the All-Star break diving in on that update. I imagine there's not going to be as many badge updates and stuff to check in on, but I just wanted to let you know that I will be doing that first before I do any team-focused content. But let's start off with our 14-game slate in Charlotte. The Hornets moved to 26-29 on the year, 110 to 107 over the Atlanta Hawks. Hornets back to their winning ways. Despite the 4-game absences of Mikal Bridges and Moussa Diabate, both of those guys suspended for their actions against the Detroit Pistons in the last game, they're going to be out until February 24th against the Chicago Bulls. Brandon Miller led the way with 31, LaMelo 24, Khan 18, Grant Williams got the start, 7 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, was 1 of 9 from the field, 0 for 6 from 3, played 32 minutes. Expect him to be the starter over the next 2 weeks or so. Ryan Kalkbrenner, he got the start at the 5 points, 6 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 24 minutes. Tijan Salon was recalled from the G League, but was quiet, 3 points in only 15 minutes. Instead, it was PJ Hall giving them some extra punch in the front court, doubled with 11 and 10 in 17 minutes. Hawks passed Atlanta in the standings with this win over the Hawks, so they're now 9th in the Eastern Conference, 2.5 behind Miami for 8th, and 3 behind Orlando for 7th. Going over to the Hawks, they dropped to 26-30. Jalen Johnson near triple-double in this one, 19, 13, and 9. Obviously, the Hornets front court was a little short-handed in this one. Dyson Daniels added 21. Onyeka Okongwu with 18. Nickeil Alexander-Walker has been boom or bust for the last 2 weeks or so. 10 points, 2 for 13 from the field, 1 for 7 from 3. CJ McCollum, 17 points, but on 6 of 17 from the field, 1 of 8 from 3. Hawks only 10 of 36 from 3 in this one, held the Hornets to 37.5% from the field, but Charlotte grabbed more offensive boards and hit their threes, so that's why the Hornets got the win in this one. Buddy Hield and Gabe Vincent so far have been glued to the bench, as Atlanta has been going with a 3-guard rotation with Dyson, Alexander Walker, and CJ McCollum. We'll see if they incorporate those guys after the break. Cleveland, they get a really big win over the Washington Wizards, 138 to 113. Massive blowout, wasn't a competitive game at all. They moved to 34-21 on the season. 5-game winning streak for them. They've won 10 of their last 11, a game behind the Knicks for 3rd place in the East. I expect that they'll probably finish out the year as the number 2 team in the Eastern Conference. Sam Merrill was huge in this one, 32 points, 11 of 12 from the field, 9 for 10 from 3. Donovan Mitchell added 30 himself. And then James Harden, 13 points, 11 assists, 1 of 4 from 3, 10 of 12 from the free throw line. Did not take a 2 in this game. So that's actually the second most free throw attempts in history without a 2-point attempt. 12 free throws versus 0 twos. Derrick Jones Jr. once had 14 free throws with no 2-point attempts. Jarrett Allen, 21 points, 9 rebounds, 8 of 8 from the field. He's been tearing it up since James Harden arrived. But worth noting also that Washington was extremely short-handed in this one, as we'll get to in just a couple seconds. Keon Ellis, I'm essentially reclassifying him as a small forward, as they've been running these 3-guard units. Obviously, the Cavs also run 3 guards in general. They're starting Harden, Mitchell, and Sam Merrill right now, but they're still going with 3 guards in their on their second unit, playing Donovan Mitchell next to Dennis Schroeder and Keon Ellis. So I'm classifying Ellis as the 3 in those lineups. His rebound rate is up with Cleveland compared to what it was in Sacramento, so that kind of reflects that he is playing a small forward. Going over to Washington, and I guess also worth noting that the Cavs have also been running 3 guards longer than this year, as they've been playing Max Strus at the 3 for the past couple. Washington, they ran only 3s in this one, only 2s and 3s. Trey Johnson made his return to action, was back with the starters. The Wizards did not have a center active for this game. Tristan Vucevic was out due to illness, and Alex Sarr was announced is going to be out for 2 weeks with a hamstring strain. So he will also miss the Rising Stars game, was replaced by Bubba Carrington on the team. But yeah, they started Carrington, Koulibaly, George, and then not Champagny, but Trey Johnson. So we're going to call Keyshawn George the 4, and then at the 5 was Jameer Watkins. So yeah, they ran a centerless, not even a power forwardless lineup as well. Justin Champagny rather, came off the bench in this one. Keyshawn George led the way with 17. Not really anything notable statistically for these guys. Just that they ran such an unconventional lineup, and obviously they got killed in this one. Gave up a lot of 3s to Sam Merrill, as they probably, they collapsed on the penetration because they don't have a rim protector. And obviously Jarrett Allen was perfect from the field in this one. So yeah, just a pretty rough game overall. Washington could really use a center. They signed Keyshawn Gilbert and then Kadari Richmond, who I'm actually going to change him over to point guard because that's really what he was in college. These guys are all combo guards. I guess they need, because Trae Young's yet to suit up for them. D'Angelo Russell's likely going to be bought out. They kind of need to open up that roster spot sooner rather than later, if that's the case, though, because sure, bring in Smets guards. They've been, Sharif Cooper's been playing 25 minutes a game for them over the last couple weeks. Yeah, get some young guards with actual futures potentially in there. These guys might be two-way contract type of guys. It seems like Jameer Watkins might end up on a standard contract at some point, the way he's been playing. Obviously, Vucevic has been on a standard contract for the Wizards as well at various points. But yeah, they definitely could use a big man. Marvin Bagley's old friend James Wiseman is available. There's also another player newly available who we'll get to much later in this video once we get to that team. But let's head on over to the Bucks, who they had a rematch against the Magic, and they took this one 116 to 108, moving to 22 and 30 on the season. Cam Thomas exploded for 34 points off the bench, which is, I believe, the franchise record for the Bucks. 12 of 20 from the field, 4 of 6 from 3, 6 of 6 from the free throw line. If you've ever wondered why my badges are so high on Cam Thomas, games like this are Exhibit A. He created a ton of crazy shots off the bounce in this one. Doc said after the game that he's had Jamal Crawford, he's had Lou Williams, now he has Cam Thomas, so he's going to be able to mold him into the next great sixth man. Worth noting, what they didn't have was Ryan Rollins, which is ultimately what led to Cam Thomas playing more minutes in this one. So they ended up playing Jericho Sims at the 4 and then bumping Kuzma and AJ Green down to their natural positions. Sims responded with a huge game, 17 points, 11 rebounds, 36 minutes with 6 of 6 from the field as well. Kevin Porter Jr. had a triple-double as well, 18, 10, and 11 for him. And then Ousmane Deng had probably the best game of his career. Season-high 17 points with 6 of 10 from the field, 5 of 8 from 3. So very worthwhile gamble for him, for the Bucks to pick him up. They sent the Bulls Nick Richards. Dieng moved around a bunch of times on deadline day, ending up with Milwaukee. They sent Nick Richards to Chicago. Richards was going to be blocked by Jericho Sims, so it's a pretty good pickup. They do need a small forward, power forward type of player, especially while Giannis is out. So a really nice pickup. And the Bucks overall had a pretty good deadline. They've added 2 rotation players under 25 years old at this deadline. So solid work for them, regardless of whether Giannis is going to be part of the team moving forward or not. I think those are both additions that are a step in the right direction, regardless of what the direction overall for the Bucks is going to be 6 months from now. Orlando, they dropped to 28 and 25. Desmond Bane, 31 points, season high, 8 of 11 from 3 for him. He was 7 of 10 from 3 a couple games ago. So this is the shooting, essentially, that Orlando has been waiting for all year. Bane's three-point percentage by month, 25% in October, going up to 34% in November. So really slow start for him. Up to 38% in December, 40% last month, and now 45% through 6 games in February. So +3 to his three-point rating for him, and that'll probably continue to climb as the season goes on. Jalen Suggs, 16 points, 10 assists, 4 steals, 3 blocks. It sucks that he's missed so much time, as he'd be an easy all-defense candidate otherwise. You see what I did there? Okay, moving on. Franz Wagner, 5 points, 1 of 7 from the field in 21 minutes off the bench, still on a little bit of a minutes restriction. His kind of inefficient play while he works his way back from injury is probably going to end up reducing his rating at some point when I get around to it. Worth noting, because it's in small sample of minutes, he's only playing like 20 minutes a game. It is going to take a lot longer for those kind of changes to show up, so he's still got some time to work it out. Boston, they got a 124 to 105 win over the Chicago Bulls. They moved to 35 and 19 on the season. Nikola Vucevic versus his former team, 19 and 11 off the bench. Neemias Queta, only 15 minutes. He hurt his ankle in the second quarter, but he did return to the game. He was pulled after 3 minutes in the third with a 28-point lead, so they may have just wanted to be cautious, although it is worth noting that he did commit a foul in order to get himself out of the game, so maybe it just didn't feel right. Hopefully he doesn't have to miss time, but if he does, Vucevic seems like he's primed to step into a larger role. And then Jordan Walsh was exhumed in this one. 16 points, 6 rebounds, 3 steals, 2 blocks in 29 minutes. Seems like the Bulls were probably a good matchup for him. Peyton Pritchard off the bench, 26 points. It's too late for him to be Sixth Man of the Year, as he started too many games, but he would be certainly one of the favorites to repeat if that wasn't the case. Jaylen Brown, 24 points. Derek White, 9 points, 9 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. He's somebody who probably will be on the defensive team because unlike Jalen Suggs, he has not really missed any time at all this year. Chicago, they dropped to 24 and 31 on a 6-game losing streak, 1-9 in their last 10. So they are falling out of the play-in race. Does not seem like they are going to be able to get back into it. They're all the way down in 11th. I imagine Milwaukee's probably going to pass them, as they're a little more motivated to win. And obviously the Hawks and Hornets are the 9-10 right now, and both of those are better teams than what the Bulls have. Even if Josh Giddey, Tyus Jones, or say Trey Jones, Jabbar, Jalen Smith, if all those guys were healthy, they just don't have the horses right now. But they are pretty banged up as it is. Colin Sexton, we had a lineup change. Sexton got the start over Jaden Ivey in this one, had 15 points. Jaden Ivey came off the bench, hadn't been having the greatest start to his Bulls career. He had 10 points, 4 assists. I did swap him over to the 2 guard with Simons, just to reflect that he was sharing the court essentially with Rob Dillingham, who had the best game of the year, maybe even of his pro career so far. I didn't check, but 16 points, 7 assists, 3 steals, played 30 minutes off the bench, so I would expect his rating's probably going to climb a little bit once I get to reevaluate him. And then Anthony Simons versus his former team in the Celtics, he spent half the year with, 7 points, ultimately his lowest output as a Chicago Bull. He had put up at least 15 points in each of their first 3 games with the team. Yabusele had a bounce back with 13 points, starting at the 5 right now, while Jalen Smith is sidelined. Just given the depth on the team that they have, I'm not going to change his position over to the 5 as of yet, but maybe it makes sense if they do end up starting like Yabusele and Jalen Smith together. I would consider Smith the 4 and Yabu the 5 maybe. And that would allow Modest Buzelis to maybe move down to his natural position at the 3, but again, a lot of it kind of depends on how they're going to use Josh Giddey moving forward, if they decide to even bring him back, because who knows the way tanking is going in the NBA right now. Patrick Williams got the start at the 4, which is what allowed Buzelis to start at the 3. Isaac Okoro also missed this game, so Williams was solid, 12.6 assists, and Buzelis had 15 as well, 12.6 assists. Hey, that's one of the better Patrick Williams games he's had in the last couple of years. So good stuff from him. Let's go on over to the Indiana Pacers. Speaking of tanking, they were not able to out-tank the Brooklyn Nets in this one, moving to 15-40 on the season, 115 to 110 over the Nets. Siakam, Nemhard, Nesmith, and McConnell all south this one because it's the tankathon. So their starting five was Cam Jones at the 1, Ben Shepherd at the 2, Jarris Walker at the 3, Kobe Brown at the 4, and then Jay Huff back in the starting lineup at the 5. Jones led the way with 11 points, 6 assists. Probably need to get his rating up to like the low 70s, like a 71-ish. Kobe Brown in his start, pretty quiet, 4 points, 7 rebounds, 4 fouls in 28 minutes. Jarris Walker led the way with 23 points. Micah Potter off the bench, 19 and 12, double-double. Was more effective than Huff in the last one. So maybe the guys will swap based on who's starting. Huff didn't make sense against the Knicks, who have Karl Anthony Towns, who's a much more agile player. So maybe depending on the matchup, we'll dictate who starts moving forward, as Ivica Zubac is not suited up for the team yet, and who knows if he ever will, based on what's going on around the league, which we'll get to very shortly. Rounding out the rest of the lines for the Pacers, 15 points, 3 steals for Ethan Thomas. They played all the guys in their two ways. Talon Peter had 14 points, 2 steals, and then Quentin Jackson was the backup point guard in this one. 9 points, 5 assists for him. It does seem likely that the Pacers are going to be giving up their pick this year in the to the Clippers in the Zubac trade. It is top 4 protected, and the Pacers right now have the 4th worst record in the NBA, which means, like, based on ping pong balls, etc., they're like 50% likely to like actually just give up the pick and somebody else move up. It would essentially require no teams to move up for them to really keep the pick. And we saw last year 3 teams moved up into that top 4. So, a lot can happen over the next 2 months of the season. There's a lot of tanking that still needs to be done by these teams, but Indiana has like a really good core. They're going to have to shut down guys like Siakam, etc. I think if they're really going to want to hold on to their 4th worst record in order to get that pick. It's not the end of the world if they do give up the pick, because essentially it gets the obligation out of the way. They would then get to have their 2031 draft pick. Obviously, 5 years out, who could really say if it's who's going to be available then? But the reason why it's such a big deal for this season is this is like one of the deepest draft classes that we've seen in years. Lots of star power at the top, probably comparable to like the 03 draft class with LeBron, Wade, Melo, etc. So like there's like 6 guys who are really like star caliber guys, and that's why the Clippers want this pick. Why they structured it in such a way where they are going to get the pick if it falls in the 5 to 9 range. So the Clippers, they're essentially moving towards a rebuild, whereas the Pacers are not. The Pacers just came out of the NBA Finals. They have a pretty win now team for the most part. Like, if they do get a high draft selection, I don't even necessarily think that they would be like drafting somebody with the intention of like playing them with Tyrese Halliburton. They might be looking to move the pick at the draft because it would make more sense to pair guys who are on like not just Halliburton's timeline, but also Pascal Siakam, Ivica Zubac. If they draft a 19-year-old, by the time they're really ready to like explode as like a star player 4 years from now, Siakam and Zubac like will have already aged out. So that's part of why the pick does not have as much value for the Pacers as it does for the Clippers. But it would also be nice for if the Pacers got the number 1 overall pick and were able to pair that next to Tyrese Halliburton. There's a lot that's going to happen over the next 2 months to kind of we'll see where things land on when they do the draft lottery itself. But yeah, very very interesting. It's going to be a fun, air quotes, fun next 2 months as we see all these teams jockey for position in what should be a historic draft class. The Brooklyn Nets, speaking of jockeying for position, they held out Michael Porter Jr., Nick Claxton, Noah Clowney. So they were able to pick up another loss. They dropped to 15-38 on the year. Same number of wins, but not as many losses as the Pacers. Still 2 behind them in the loss column. Day'Ron Sharpe had a big game, 19 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists with 2 steals, 2 blocks, 8 for 11 from the field. Very cheap contract. Probably gets moved during the offseason to a team that needs a center, either him or Claxton, I imagine. But probably they would just want to extract assets for Sharpe while he's still on the cheap contract. Rather, whoever gets him is probably going to have to sign him to a much larger deal. He only makes like $6 or $7 million at the moment. Zion Williams, he got the start with Clowney and Porter sidelined, had 19 points, was 5 of 7 from 3. He likewise is a player who's on like a $6 or $7 million deal, so he could have value to a contender during the off season as like a potential role player, only 25 years old at that point. Just somebody who could be like your 7th or 8th man moving forward. Nolan Traore, he's been picking it up over the last month or so, 20 points, 8 assists. Yegor Doman, 13, 5, and 5 at the 2. Danny Wolf, 14 and 8 off the bench. Ben Seraph had 12 in this one of his better games. And then Drake Bowell rounding out the rest of the Nets' first-round picks from this past season. 6 points for him off the bench. Ochai Agbaji made his debut, but was scoreless. 16 points. Josh Minot still has not suited up yet. He has a cheap team option, so he's not really a buyout candidate. He's another guy who could be on the move in a trade during the offseason to a team that could, just use a cheap team-controlled player to potentially play like a 9th or 10th man off the bench type of role. New York Knicks, we go crosstown to them. 35 and 20 on the year with their biggest win of the season, 138-89 over the Sixers. Grand Theft Alvarado has arrived. 26 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 5 steals. Doing all of that in only 19 minutes, where he was a plus 35. 8 of 13 from 3. All of his field goal attempts were threes. So I've got him at 80 overall, which is plus 4 from where 2K's got him at. I did update some of his badges. Some of his badges are pretty disgusting where 2K's got him at, and also they've had him at a 73 ball handle rating for the last 5 years, which is really low for a point guard. So he is more of a creator than say a Miles McBride. I think this is a great pickup by the Knicks, and probably just a better player overall than Miles McBride. He's more of a 2 guard who plays the 1. I would love to see Alvarado and McBride play next to each other off the bench, but the Knicks are so loaded right now. Jordan Clarkson is essentially a small forward for this team rather than a 2 guard. I did not like that pickup for them during the offseason because he's just completely out of the rotation right now. Mo Diawara, for what it's worth, 14 points, 5 of 10 from the field, 4 of 8 from 3. I've been saying that the Knicks could end up with a Haywood Highsmith. They don't need Highsmith if Diawara is going to continue to keep this up, as that's essentially what they'd be hoping for from Highsmith. He's played some pretty good defense on the wing as well. Karl Anthony Towns, 21 and 11. Mikal Bridges, 22. And Jalen Brunson, only 8 points in 30 minutes. He sucks. Get that bum out of here. Make Jose Alvarado the starter moving forward. Philadelphia, they dropped to 30 and 24. Joel Embiid is going to be reevaluated after the All-Star break. So Adem Bona, he got the start at 6 points in 23 minutes. Tyrese Maxey doing what he can, 32 minutes. VJ Edgecombe continues to struggle offensively, 14 points, but only 6 of 16 from the field, over 5 from 3, another off-shooting night. And then Kelly Oubre, also not able to get it done, scored 2 points, but over 6 from the field, over 5 from 3. Sixers overall were 6 of 32 from 3, whereas Jose Alvarado by himself was 8 for 13. Knicks overall 20 of 44 from 3. Dalen Terry, for what it's worth, signed a 2-way contract with the Sixers. He played 7 minutes of garbage time in this one. Quentin Grimes is sidelined right now. He's missed the last 2 or 3 games with, I believe, illness. So not a long-term thing, but I will just deactivate him. Actually, no, I won't, because he'll just be back after the All-Star break. Detroit, they moved to 40-13 on the year, second team with 40 wins, 113-95 over the Toronto Raptors. We got the suspension news. Beef Stew going to be out for 7 games, out until March 3rd versus Cleveland, and then Jalen Duren is going to miss 2 games. He'll be out until February 21st versus Chicago. Jalen Duren is going to be allowed to play the All-Star game despite the suspension. Obviously, that's a team thing, not a league thing. So yeah, he'll get some cardio then. But honestly, they should just give his spot to B-Ball Paul. 22 points, 3 steals, 4 blocks, 33 minutes. I got my rating in for him finally, 78 plus 3. Best third string in the NBA at any position. He would start for a few teams. I'd be curious to see, obviously they've got Duren and Stu locked up for the near future. I guess technically Duren's a restricted free agent, so who knows? They probably don't want the price to go up too high on him in the bidding. But if they do retain those 2 guys, I would imagine Paul Reed probably gets moved to another team. He is great insurance, but on such a cheap deal, he really should be getting another opportunity elsewhere, as the Pistons probably wouldn't be able to justify keeping all 3 of these guys once Reed does hit free agency. Tolu Smith played 15 minutes off the bench as the backup 5. He'll probably get some more run in their next game, and then once Duren's back, be excised from the rotation. So he'll have another game to show himself. Cade, close to a triple-double, 28, 7, and 9, 3 steals leading the way offensively. All things run through Cade for the Pistons. Toronto, they dropped to 32 and 23. I don't know if I talked about this before, but Brandon Ingram is going to be replacing Steph Curry on the All-Star team. Honestly, I don't think he's a good choice. He played 11 more games than Michael Porter Jr., so he's a better choice than Porter. Because Porter's been better, but again, he's been held out of so many games. The Nets are not a good team. Honestly, I think that, and especially since they're not doing it by conference, they're just going by whoever's, because it's like U.S. versus the world, they're just going by whoever they feel like adding to the game, because it's not East versus West anymore. Silver should have taken James Harden, to be quite honest. He's had a much better year, but I think they did want to just reward Toronto, who they've had a better year overall than the LA Clippers. But, again, also would have been nice. The game is played in the Clippers' home stadium, so, having Harden return there would have been nice. I think it's kind of I think Ingram, if I recall, is from LA, so maybe that's part of, that had something to do with it. But Harden also from LA, so I don't know. Yeah, Ingram, 13 points, 5 of 7 from the field in this one. Not exactly an all-star performance. Jakob Poeltl made his return finally. He got the start in this one as Colin Murray-Boyles was out. We'll see if he continues starting or if he ends up coming off the bench. But he had 9 points, 6 rebounds in 20 minutes. Going over to those Clippers that we just talked about a little bit. They moved to 26 and 27 in a rematch over the Rockets. 105-102. Kawhi Leonard, 27 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists with 4 steals, had 19 points in the fourth quarter to lead the way over the Houston Rockets. Still insane that the coaches did not vote for him to make the game, as he's clearly been like a top 5 player the entire year. Benedict Mathurin, second game in a Clippers uniform for him, 16 points in 31 minutes off the bench. He's essentially Kawhi's backup. Brook Lopez, 15 points. He's looked pretty good as the starter. 15 points, 2 steals, 2 blocks. Isaiah Jackson was a DNP CD in this one, so Yannick Konan-Niederhauser looks like he is going to be the backup moving forward. I'll see if I can get those guys with like inverted overalls. Conan should probably be a 76, Isaiah Jackson a 74 moving forward. Houston, they dropped to 33 and 20. KD with 21 in this one. Alperen Sengun, 16, 9, and 6. I definitely want to drop his overall rating from a 91. He's been awful the last month or so, not at all playing like an all-star since the calendar year turned, really. Jalen Smith, he double-doubled with 16 and 12. Reed Shepard, 17 points, hit 5 threes off the bench. He's been playing a little bit better, so I was going to drop his rating, but maybe I'll hold off on that. But Sengun definitely needs to drop down a little bit right now. Minnesota, they moved to 34 and 22 with a blowout over the Blazers, 133 to 109. Julius Randle was absolutely dominant in this one. Portland doesn't really have a true four to match up with him. 41 points, 14 of 24 from the field, 10 of 11 from the line. Jaden McDaniels, I always have to check. I forget. Jaden is the good one. Jalen is out of the league. 21 points for him. Anthony Edwards, quiet night with 14 points. Was 4 of 6 from 3, but it just obviously wasn't needed with Randall going off. Portland, they dropped to 26 and 29. Denny Avdija has struggled since coming back from his injury. He's probably still feeling the effects of his back injury. 11 points, 3 of 14 from the field, 0 for 7 from 3, but is poised to play in his first All-Star game over the weekend. Obviously, it means a lot to him. Drew Holiday, 23 points. Scoot Henderson, 18 points in 19 minutes. He has been awesome since returning from injury, so lots of depth for Portland in the backcourt. Denny Avdija essentially starting at 2 guard with Shaedon Sharpe sidelined through the All-Star break. Going over to Miami, they moved to 29 and 27 with a 23 to 111 win over the Pelicans. Norm Powell still out. I imagine he is going to play the All-Star game probably, but he's missed 5 out of the last 7 games. All-Star also, it's not the most important thing if he plays, but it's something that definitely means a lot to him, given just the arc of his career. He definitely would want to play in this game. Probably going to be the only time he makes the All-Star game in his career. Bam, 27 points, 14 rebounds, 4 blocks to lead the way over New Orleans. Khalil Ware got the start again, 16 points and 12 rebounds, 2 blocks. Fontecchio had 15 points. Myron Gardner had 8 points, 10 rebounds, and another start. Andrew Wiggins currently sidelined, so essentially Gardner at the 2, Fontecchio at the 3. That was their lineup. Jaime Jaquez played 35 minutes off the bench, had 23 points. Obviously a pretty good matchup for him going up against the Pels, where they've got big wings in Herb Jones and Trey Murphy III, as well as Sadiq Bey, and obviously Zion is like their technically point guard. No real notes for the Pels. Let's just power through. They dropped to 15 and 41, but they have been playing a lot better. They came in 5 and 5 over the last 10 games. Zion, 25 points. They're probably going to pass teams like the Nets and Pacers in the wins column, just because they are not eligible to draft one of those star players. They traded that pick to the Hawks in the Derek Queen trade, which is part of why the Derek Queen trade was so foolish, because yeah, sure, you're getting a guy that was pegged to go like in the 10 to 12 range. Like he's going to be a good player maybe, but he just doesn't have like the superstar potential that some of the guys in this draft have. So the fact that they even gave up the pick with no protection is just honestly, as much as pick protections probably should go away in the NBA, they are still technically legal right now. So the Pelicans don't have any incentive to tank because they decided to trade picks ethically. Let's move along to OKC Thunder, who they would get one of these draft picks. I forget who. The Clippers draft pick is owed to them. But I think also the Utah Jazz. Yeah, that's who the Jazz's top 8 protected pick would go to if they fall out of the top 8. So the rich might get even richer. Who knows? Thunder moved to 42 and 13 on the year, 136 to 109 over the Suns. Jalen Williams leading the way. Was absolutely dominant in this one. 28 points, 11 of 12 from the field, hit both of his threes, 4 or 5 from the line. Only 20 minutes. Thunder shot 58% overall in this game. Isaiah Joe, 21 points, 6 of 8 from 3 in 18 minutes. Jared McCain, 12 points in 22 minutes off the bench. He had 8 points in 75 seconds in one stretch. So, the just absolutely nuking the Suns in this one. The Thunder did. Suns, they dropped to 32 and 23. Booker was out, so, it kind of is what it is. Jordan Goodwin got the start, had 12 points in a start at the 2 next to Colin Gillespie. I still have Cole Anthony here because he hasn't been waived yet, but let's, I guess, at least sideline him so that he's not showing up in the rotation, since it's going to be Jabari Booyah, that is going to get the reserve point guard minutes, along with Jordan Goodwin, who I still need to get a rating update in for. Definitely needs to be higher than a 73. He's been in the rotation for most of the year. Dylan Brooks led the way with 23 points. And then going over to the Utah Jazz, the Tankathon. They played against the Sacramento Kings, who they were not able to out-tank. They won 121 to 93, moving up to 18 and 37 on the year. Utah likely resigned themselves to the fact that they could not out-tank the Kings, as the Kings actually have some legitimate injuries to their star players, so they were going to play their kids. So, and their kids are worse than what Utah's kids are, so they were like, fuck it, let's just play Jaren Jackson Jr. and Lauri Markkanen. Jaren Jackson Jr. led the way with 23. Lauri had 19. Isaiah Collier still starting for Keontae George out with a sprained ankle. 12 points, 14 assists. He's been awesome for them. Bryce Sensabaugh had 19 off the bench. Svi Mikhailiuk, DNPCD, essentially out of the rotation as they're just playing their younger guys. And then, more importantly, though, it was announced Jaren Jackson Jr. this morning announced that he's going to be out for the season. The tank cannot be stopped. Unbelievable. Apparently, he's going to have surgery to remove a localized pigmented villandocular synovitis, PVNS, growth in his left knee. He will miss the remainder of the season, the Jazz announced in a press release. The team states that the growth was identified in an MRI during a physical after Jackson was acquired in the trade with Memphis last week. The procedure is expected to take place during the All-Star break. Jackson appeared in 3 games with Utah, averaging 22 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists in 24 minutes per night. The Jazz went 2-1 with him in their lineup. And then I got this all from the Hoops Rumors website. So from the Hoops Rumors comments, somebody in the know kind of commented, pigmented villandocular synovitis of the knee is a rare, benign, but locally aggressive tumor-like growth that causes the joint lining to overgrow, resulting in chronic knee swelling, pain, locking, and instability. So it doesn't, it's nothing major. He's not like at risk. It's not like cancer or anything like that. It's like something that could have waited until the off season to deal with, but they just wanted an excuse to have him out for the next 2 months. Worth noting that his return from this surgery wouldn't even necessarily keep him out for the rest of the year, but obviously they have no incentive to bring him back, in April or anything like that. So they, life finds a way, as Jeff Goldblum said, or Dr. Ian Malcolm in Jurassic Park. The tankers are going to find ways to tank. I imagine Lauri Markkanen will be out sooner or later, rather than later, with some kind of bogus injury designation. So in Jackson's case, I'm sure it is a legit thing, but it's not like a life-threatening thing like Wemby's, like deep vein thrombosis or anything like that. It's absolutely something that he could have played through. Sacramento, they dropped to 12 and 44. They were on a 14-game losing streak. Devin Carter got the start at point guard, 19 points, 4 of 13 from the field. Russell Westbrook, he sprained his ankle in their last one. Nick Clifford got the start at the 2, as Zach LaVine still out with a finger injury, and I believe Malik Monk is just sick. Nick Clifford, 6 points and 1 of 15 from the field. DeMar DeRozan, 20 points. His eyes must be bleeding after watching Nick Clifford go 1 of 15. I make that joke, but DeAndre Hunter was literally bleeding from his eye the other day, and that's why he's out. So the Kings, again, they're more ethically tanking than the Utah Jazz. They actually have some injuries across their roster. Domantas Sabonis, of course, is still out, coming off of a sport back, and, he never really recovered fully from his torn MCL or strained whatever knee injury he had before. Doug McDermott was dusted off after barely playing over the last 2 months. He had a season high of 14 points, 4 of 8 from 3. The rest of the Kings were 3 of 25 from 3. I'm not sure why it's taken him this long to get back into the rotation. Obviously not much of a defensive player, but yeah, certainly somebody who could be valuable or non-valuable for the Kings as they play out the string on their garbage season, where they project to be the number 1 overall pick. There's so many players, who are drafted in this draft who are going to hope that they are the number 2 pick if the Kings end up getting number 1. But let's go on over to Denver. They moved to 35-20 on the season, 122-116 over the Memphis Grizzlies. Jokic, his 19th triple-double of the season, 26, 15, and 11 against the team starting Kyle Anderson at the 5. So, a closer score than it probably should have been, but they got the win either way. Jamal Murray had 23 as well. Tim Hardaway Jr., 21 points on 7 of 8 from the field off the bench. Worth noting, Spencer Jones is in the concussion protocol. That's why he hasn't signed his standard deal yet. So once he's healthy and ready to play, that's when they'll sign him and get him off of his two-way. It's not that they're playing hardball with him, which I had previously speculated. I forgot about the concussion aspect of it. So, I guess also worth noting for the Grizz, they signed Lawson. I didn't go over the Grizz yet, but they signed Lawson Lovering to a 10-day contract. He played 18 minutes. He's a 7-footer. He playing against Jokic in his debut is a tough ask, but they absolutely have needed a center with Zach Edey, Brandon Clark sidelined. Maybe he ends up on a 2-way contract, and they promote one of their other guys like Maxence Prosper. Would make a lot of sense. He had 14 points on 6 of 7 from the field in this one. Ty Jerome led the way with 19 points and 7 assists through his first 5 games with the Grizz. He has a 32 PER, 70 true shooting on 33% usage, 55% assist rate. He's been doing all this, 19 points essentially in only 19 minutes per game. So he's just been awesome in his limited minutes, picking up where he left as a 6th man of the year contender last year. Probably projects as their starting point guard over the rest of the year. Who knows if Ja Morant's ever going to play for the team again or at all this season. So 84 overall for Ty Jerome, which is +5 from where 2K's got him at. Gigi Jackson, 78 overall for him. He had 21 points in this one. I've got him +2 from where 2K's got him at. A little bit of a long overdue rating update for him, as he's been starting at the 4 over the last couple weeks since Sati Aldama has been hurt. Jemima Shack, he got the start with Cedric Coward, sidelined, 9 points, 2 steals, 21 minutes. Coward out with a knee injury, probably be back after the All-Star break. Cam Spencer was essentially the backup small forward in this one, as he was spelling Jalen Wells in the rotation. So I'm probably going to just settle on him as the quote-unquote non-point guard among all the point guards on this team. Pippen Jr. was coming off the bench behind Ty Jerome. Basically everybody on this team is playing 5-minute stretches, as they're just so deep, at least in the back court. A lot of minutes to go around for those guys. So let's go on over to the Spurs, who they moved to 37-16 on the year, 126-113 over the Warriors. They went on a 20-2 run to win their 6th straight. Wemby, awesome again, 26 points, no notes. De'Aaron Fox, 27 and 8 assists. Steph Castle, 8 points, 3 of 11 from the field, was a -17 in 21 minutes. He got hurt in the last game, bruised his pelvis. So they're probably just being cautious with him, but overall he also wasn't effective. But they have the depth to make up for it. Keldon Johnson, 21 points in 21 minutes off the bench. Dylan Harper as well, 14 points, 8 assists in 29 minutes. They did waive Jeremy Sohan, former number 9 overall pick 3 years ago, or 4 years ago now, allowing him essentially to catch on with another team, doing a solid rather than dragging it out to free agency where they weren't going to have any interest in retaining him. He's been eclipsed by Julian Champagnie in their rotation. Champagnie essentially starting at the 4 over Harrison Barnes, looking poised to be their starting 4 moving forward. They tried Sohan as a point forward, a small ball center. Just didn't really work out. He's not a good enough of a shooter to play next to Victor Wembanyama. So basically a lot of the same weaknesses as somebody like a Precious Achiuwa, who has, he's been in and out of the Kings starting lineup this year, but has really struggled to make his mark with a lot of teams over the last couple of years. Is just not efficient enough offensively and too small to really play center full time. Not good enough of a ball. Has some ball skills, but not good enough of a playmaker to do much there. And overall, just his overall lack of shooting hinders him. Every team in the league, though, should have interest in him on a two-way contract. I think he's probably going to be able to get a standard contract somewhere, just going around the rest of the league real quick. Washington should immediately sign him into a standard deal, as he could be a nice fit with them moving forward. They definitely need a backup or even starting power forward on this team, as they don't really have anybody available, and he has some promise as a former number 9 pick. The Knicks, are another team that could possibly have some interest. He's, prior to the last week or so from Mo Diawara, I would have said that would have made a lot more sense, but I think at this point Diawara has probably eclipsed him, but he is somebody, again, he's young, so he is worth taking a flyer on, maybe. Only 22 years old, so yeah, definitely some upside for him. Chicago, kind of, they already have a million guys kind of in the same vein, like Buzelis and Patrick Williams. Boston maybe would make some sense as for a playoff team, given that they have similar guys like Jordan Walsh, etc. But again, recall Tatum is going to be back next year, so not really much of a path to minutes for him there. Maybe Miami. They've Precious Achiuwa at various points, but I mean, again, Bam realistically is the 4 in a lot of their lineups next to Kel'el Ware. I don't know. Hey, Utah needs a power forward now that Jaren Jackson Jr. is out for the year. Maybe they give him a look. He's basically the same type of player as Jared Vanderbilt to the Lakers. Don't make a ton of sense. Denver, he actually would make a lot of sense on Denver next to Nikola Jokic, but they don't actually have anybody that they can really cut for him, as they're going to give their 15th spot to Spencer Jones. And yeah, nobody else on a standard deal that they can really waive. Zeke Naji, as much as they would love to cut him, still has a multi-year deal, so they're not just going to eat his dead salary. Daron Holmes, coming off the torn Achilles. Sohan's probably has a better future than him. He's a year younger, etc. But Holmes still has 2 more years of team control on his deal, so I don't anticipate that they're going to let go of him or anything anytime soon. Indiana, if they decide to shut down Pascal Siakam, maybe. I'm not really. I guess technically Minnesota could use a 4, but I mean, again, Naz Reid plays a ton of time there. He doesn't really have a path to minutes. Really, he should be prioritizing a younger team where he's going to be able to get playing time or a guaranteed role. So I think if Golden State went from Jonathan Kuminga to Jeremy Sohan, that would be the biggest FU possible to Kuminga. So he's probably a better fit than Kuminga because he is a better passer. But yeah, not the worst fit there either for him to learn from a Draymond Green, etc. But Guy Santos has kind of stepped forward too. Guy Santos is a better 3-point shooter than Sohan. So. I think Washington does make a lot of sense. Even OKC, he would fit well in their system there, but they just don't have a standard player that they can cut. Finishing off with Golden State, we covered almost the entire league, 28 teams in this video. I don't really have much notes for them in this game. Draymond Green led the way with 17, 12, and 8, near triple-double for him. D'Anthony Melton also had 17. I need to get a rating update in for him, as he's been starting the past couple weeks or so. Moses Moody had 17 as well. Porzingis is yet to make his debut. Steph Curry is going to be out for the All-Star break and miss the All-Star game, so hopefully he's ready to go after the break. And yeah, it's going to be a fun second half of the season. Thanks for sticking with me. As mentioned, I am probably going to we do have 3 games actually that are tomorrow, so let's just actually review the calendar. Some interesting games. We've got Milwaukee versus OKC. Let's see what Cam Thomas can do against the league's best defense. Portland versus Utah. Utah are going to be especially motivated to throw this one on a back-to-back with Jaren Jackson Jr. now out for the year. I imagine Lauri Markkanen's probably going to they'll find a reason to hold him out or something like that. Portland, this might be the easiest win that they get all year playing against Utah in this one. And then what should have been a marquee matchup heading into the break, Cooper Flagg and the Dallas Mavericks against Luka Doncic and the LA Lakers. Neither Flagg nor Luka is going to play in this game. Flagg has already been replaced in the Rising Stars game by Ace Bailey. Has a sprained foot, so yeah, really sucks that he's going to be out. And then Luka, he's going to miss, I believe, his 4th straight game. No report yet on whether or not he's going to be able to play in the All-Star game, and if there's any desire for the league to replace him in the game. We'll see. But yeah, it's been a fun season so far. Thanks for sticking with me, and keep an eye out for more roster-related content during the All-Star break. Even though games won't be occurring, I am going to be powering through on a lot of the ratings. Thanks again for watching. I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.